all these rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a healthy higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
the
convinced
pullback
to
to
enter a long trade.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and BCH. A lot of action on Bitcoin right now, and we did that altcoin video yesterday. A lot of those altcoins have broken bearish from their tightening daily patterns. That being said, Bitcoin is holding on. So we have the support of 77.87 holding, staying in a daily equilibrium. So yesterday's video, we said the most likely scenario is now ruling out the odds of a continuation move. And now the most likely scenario is either an equilibrium or a lower high and lower low to a bear break. Well, we just held it, so now it is clear we have a daily equilibrium forming. So the range that we're watching is all of those tops around 82.90 and support, higher low just formed, just barely above 77.87. Actually, it was above it by about $63. So a nice little higher low right off the 12-period exponential support on the daily time frame. That's also one of our guides as support, still holding, still keeping the bulls in control. I'm currently all cash. I stopped out of this trade, and as this trade was developing, it was very clear that the bears are waiting at 82.90. And anytime we get to that level, we don't just get a rejection, a normal inability of the bulls to break resistance. It's clearly not that the bulls don't have enough momentum. It's clear that the bears are smashing the price down whenever that is hit. So we go to the 5-minute time frame, and rather than just a pullback, you can see that there's a ton of market sell orders waiting for the bulls there. And we did see a V-shaped recovery and another rejection right after it. So we have this constant battle between the bulls and the bears. Neither are giving up. And that's what's being shown here. This is the bears giving it everything they got, and then the bulls saying, all right, we see your bearish volume and we'll match it. And they got right back to resistance and couldn't break it. But here we are doing the exact same thing again on the 5-minute time frame. So we'll look at this most recent bounce in just a second. But on the 4-hour time frame, so I'm watching this morning and I'm saying, all right, it's more likely than not we're going to break the support level of 80.65, and I'm going to stop out of my partial swing position. And I had to accept that. But at that same time, I said to myself, we're likely still going to form a daily high or low and stay within a daily equilibrium. So my choices were, number one, keep the stop loss where it is and stick to my game plan, or number two, go with my gut and say, okay, even if the support level breaks, we're still likely to hold support on the daily, and pull my stop loss and then not have a stop loss and allow, extra risk. So I kept my stop loss there by sticking to my trade game plan. Because if we're looking long-term, again, if this is just, a small sample size, sure, going with your gut can work out. But if you're looking long-term over a couple of years, if you do not stick to your trade game plan, you get yourself into trouble and you will not last long in this trading game. So had I pulled my stop level, then I instantly would have been using this stop level down at 77.87. All of a sudden, my risk would have been about 150% more than it was initially with this stop level. And what would have happened is I subject myself to my emotions, because if we keep dropping down and then we get to this level, and let's say we had broken 77.87, and next thing I know, I say, well, I don't want to stop out here because the hourly RSI is oversold, and I just start making these excuses and this reasoning to stay in the trade. Meanwhile, my risk and my loss has now racked up significantly more than I ever wanted it to on that trade when I initially got in. So I accepted my small loss, nice and contained. I am not going to give back any of the gains. Well, small give back of the gains, but it has been a very nice month of July on this bounce for the bulls, and I'm not giving that back. And again, the fact that I'm anticipating the potential of a weekly lower high coming sooner rather than later, it keeps me protective here. So the fact that I got stopped out of this position, and I didn't play this oversold bounce, and I was busy with stocks. There was a lot of action going on with stocks. I trade with more money with stocks than I do in cryptocurrency. So, a 1% move on a stock is going to give me more money than a potential 2% move on Bitcoin might, because I'm using a lot more capital on stocks than I am on Bitcoin. Today, a position I had for the tech sector oversold bounce in the stock market, it was 150% in one position of what my all-in Bitcoin would have been, and I certainly wouldn't have gone all in on this bounce attempt anyway. So it was a very significant bounce attempt. What I want to point out is this 5-minute time frame. Again, V-shaped recovery, this is the bulls not rolling over. This is the bulls saying we're still around and we're still in this fight. But when I see this kind of action, and it's unusual in the sense that this is not the normal healthy market reaction that we would anticipate, a bounce from the oversold bounce, a 15-minute lower high forming, and then an equilibrium. Instead, on the 15-minute time frame, we go straight to V-shaped recovery and right back up towards our resistance levels. We got one at 8,200, and then we're looking back up in the 8290s. But whenever I see this, if I see this in the stock market, which we do see it at times, again, a move that is unusual, it stands out, it's not what we would expect from normal price action, and it's contained with very limited consolidation. This screams algo or institutional buying to me when it's in the stock market. I don't think it's institutional right now. I think it's algos kicking in and saying, all right, RSI levels hit a certain point, we're now going to be aggressively buying. And you can see increasing 5-minute bull volume, multiple periods on these legs up. So that does stand out. There's definitely bulls showing up to save this level. The hourly RSI did get pretty oversold. It dropped down to 23.24 on Coinbase, and we had a 15-minute RSI oversold climax and a 15-minute abnormal volume. Both triggered a little bit early, but obviously both would have worked out well at this point. So that triggered it 79.50. We did drop down another candlestick and a half, and then saw a significant bounce follow through. So oversold bounces were firing off left and right, and we did get significant follow through on it this time. But keep in mind, this hourly chart right now where we stand is still a lower high pattern. Yes, the bounce is very powerful and much stronger than the bulls, or than I would have anticipated that the bulls could put together, but it is still a downtrend. So that's why I'm still looking for this daily equilibrium to play out. And this equilibrium, if we continue to consolidate on this hourly time frame into tonight, we could look at this daily equilibrium to play out for another day or two, and potentially into, Wednesday, Thursday. So at this point, because I got stopped out of my position, I'm not going to be trying to mess around while we're within this range. We're seeing, bull breaks and then dumps and bear breaks and then bounces. I'm patiently waiting now for this daily equilibrium to play out. Nice tight range, very clear, and I will make my next decision based on what this daily equilibrium does. So I'm in no rush to do anything at this point. And if you are a bear, you're looking at potential bearish entries, either with 82 or 82.90. And if you're a bull, you can either be patient and wait on the daily. If you do not want to be patient, we're looking down at our double low or our higher low of support, but very clear higher low of the equilibrium on the daily. So we'll check back in on Bitcoin and see if we do fade a little bit more at the end of this video, because again, the bulls are just now topping out a little bit, still 5-minute higher lows, but a little bit exhausted after this, $200, $300 move from the low to the high. So checking in on Ethereum, we have a clear bear break on the daily time frame, and we've now seen 5 out of 6 days red on Ethereum. So we broke the higher low pattern. Didn't get a ton of follow through. The follow through will come, in my opinion, if Bitcoin breaks its daily equilibrium bearish. So I'm looking at support down at 445.66 and 441. And if we break those levels, it just continues to shift the odds in favor of the bears. In terms of resistance right now, looking up at 471.37. Anything under that is a lower high. So the 4-hour time frame Ethereum, clear bear break of the range, and nice lower wick of bulls attempting the bounce. So let's compare the Bitcoin bounce to Ethereum, and it's not even comparable. So you look at the start of the dump, the hourly time frame, look at how not even close it is. So again, this is just more and more instances where Bitcoin is showing me that it is stronger and has more attention than these altcoins. And in my opinion, as I've been saying for a week plus, it is due to the ETF and the bulls not taking profit as significantly as they are holding out to this potential event. So again, we have to keep that in mind, because look at this bounce. This is exactly what I would anticipate normal price market or normal price action to be. To give us a low, an hourly oversold bounce, just giving us a lower high, and now potentially an hourly equilibrium setting up. And obviously that's not what Bitcoin did at all. So resistance right now on the bounce for Ethereum is 454.45. Support is down at 446. And we'll see how this tightening hourly pattern breaks as we head into tonight. Litecoin on the daily chart also had a bear break, and we tested down and got to support at the low of July 21st. So 79.77 and 79.76 is a double bottom. And you look at Ethereum and say, if we were to drop down to the low of the 26th, we would be down, and actually it was the 21st, I believe. So the 21st, we would be down at 441 right now. And we're not. We're $11 above that level, 2%. So stronger. Litecoin is clearly weaker than Ethereum. Ethereum is clearly weaker than Bitcoin. Where does BCH tie into it all? Still holding on into an equilibrium. So BCH is probably stronger here. I'm just going to rank them. We got BTC, BCH, ETH, LTC is how I'm ranking them. The daily chart, still in an equilibrium. We did not lose the daily higher low pattern like both Ethereum and Litecoin did. 4-hour time frame, clear resistance is up at 839, and support almost a double low, 785, 780. So the hourly time frame here as well, a little bit more of a bounce than Ethereum and Litecoin saw. Not as strong as Bitcoin, but notable. Resistance 815 is the top of the bounce at this point, and support is 785. And we'll see if we get an hourly equilibrium over the next 4 or 5 hours to watch this tightening pattern play out. So at this point, it is very clear to me that there is some significant loading of Bitcoin going on to keep prices contained and to keep them holding on to the bullish uptrend on the daily chart. And in my opinion, we're going to continue to see this until we either get a decision about the ETF or the can kick down the road. If we get the delay, that's going to open up a wide enough window that's going to get, we're going to allow both bullish and bearish action a little bit easier. And what I mean by that is when we have such a contained window, whether we're looking to August 10th, some people say August 16th, regardless of what day it is, the bottom line is we have, 2 weeks until a key day is coming. So while the window is so tight, I don't believe that the bears are going to get too much follow through on any downside action, because there's always going to be hopeful bulls hoping for this ETF. And then once that window opens up in terms of when something's going to happen, again, that will allow that, maybe bulls will be comfortable sitting out for a couple weeks, where right now bulls are clearly not comfortable sitting out for a couple weeks because they want to be in for a piece of this potential ETF action. So again, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter, but this market is currently being dictated and run by this ETF decision that is approaching, in my opinion. And we've seen the reaction to headlines that have certainly showed that the market is pretty sensitive to any information about that ETF. So that's where we stand. I have no interest in rushing into any positions. If you're patient, you're waiting on the daily patterns. A lot of people entered bearish positions in Ethereum and Litecoin, and we could get significant follow through on these bear altcoin positions if we do see Bitcoin eventually break this daily equilibrium bearish. Again, I don't think this equilibrium is going to break unless the bulls completely surprise us and get a break of 8,300 and a complete turnaround. That would be notable. If that happens today or tomorrow, absolutely that's going to be notable for strength. But otherwise, I'm going to be looking for a couple days, and if that couple days leads to a bear break, which would lead to our weekly lower high and healthy weekly consolidation, in my opinion, to try and form a higher low, if that does happen, these names like Ethereum and Litecoin are going to be in a bit of trouble, as they're going to be testing their weekly lows where Bitcoin has so much more space to be currently working with. So that's where we stand overall. Establish your game plans. You still have a bullish position. Daily higher low could be your level to be looking at this point. And if you are in a short position, there's a lot of shorts that are going to look to cover if 8,300 breaks. And if we lose the 5-minute higher low pattern, that's when we'll be more confident our hourly lower high has been established and an hourly equilibrium is potentially showing up. Keep your eye on that volume. Volume was definitely notable here multiple times. Literally every single next leg up on these candlesticks, all increasing bull volume every time. That was absolutely standing out. And we'll see if these bulls continue to hold the price up and come and rescue their friends when they're in danger. That's essentially what happened. We knew an oversold bounce was coming, but the bulls really put an exclamation point on this bounce. So I appreciate you all watching. I hope you continue to do good things. I'll leave you all with a video posted on Twitter, but one of our members made this and it's absolutely hysterical. And it is the charting mantra for abundance and positive energy. And on that note, we'll see you tomorrow. High, higher, low, low, high, higher, low, lower, 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 high, higher, low, low, high, higher, low.